My full name is Mario Alberto Viveros Espinoza, for short Mario Espinoza. And my affiliation is a graduate student in the doctoral program at UC Santa Barbara in sociology. To do sociology, I envision that as how we can combine theory with praxis, and how our research can be used as a vehicle to alleviate social problems in our society, whether it be in a contemporary context where you're actively doing research that helps people, or if you're doing kind of like this behind the scenes work where your research ultimately is used as a resource for others to be able to build that momentum to make social change and alleviate social disparities. I'd say the way that I use sociology in my work is by keeping the communities I do research with involved. For example, in the past, I've worked with the HIV positive community in San Luis Obispo, California, and every step of the way they were involved in my research as a form of ethicality, where you want to be able to relay the correct information in the communities that we're studying, and also have them feel involved in the research that we're doing on them. So I think to answer that question more like in a solid sense is just keeping people involved with your research is how I would prefer it. Well, some of the highlights, my senior thesis at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo was adopted by a nonprofit agency called the Access Support Network, and how I was talking about my research involving the HIV positive community. What I meant is that what I had done is alleviate stigma from that community in regards to how they're perceived by society as a stigma with their identity, and also how the HIV negative community is suffering from that very same stigma. So what ultimately ended up happening was developing a program of outreach for young MSM in Cal Poly and in San Luis Obispo. So men who have sex with men between the ages 18 and 35, on using the rhetoric of knowing your status and why it's important to get tested. And this event is actually like a free HIV testing event where we have interactive sessions with professionals on insurance, on how to pay for prevention medicine or programs, and also humanizing the HIV positive experience. I think that it's relevant because ultimately the work that I do, I want it to be able to be used as a resource, not only for my future students in academia, but to society at large. So for example, I want to be able to have the kind of research that organizations seek when there's a gap in what they're trying to fill. The biggest piece of advice would be not to give up. You know, I come from an underprivileged background where none of my family has came this far in academia, and I wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for perseverance. So definitely never giving up, and like always thinking about how this is going to be beneficial not only for yourself but for your communities that you're a part of. And also to seek out the resources that you need. Don't be afraid to ask your professors for resources or advice, and not even just the resources, but staff at your department and the grad advisory board as well.